Okay, this is section 3.9. We're going to talk about a couple things here. We want to identify when it is appropriate to use information from a sample to make an inference about a population. Okay, so when can I apply it to the population? And when is it appropriate to make an inference about cause and effect? So when can I use cause and effect? And then next, we want to evaluate if a certain study has been carried out in an ethical manner. Okay, in an ethical manner, which is somewhat controversial sometimes. Okay, so here's some examples. Here's one survey. The U.S. Census Bureau carries out a monthly current population survey of about 60,000 households. They do that every month. One goal is to use the data from the randomly selected households to estimate the percent that are unemployed in the population. Okay. Next one, scientists performed an experiment that randomly assigned 21 volunteer subjects to one of two treatments: sleep deprivation for one night or unrestricted sleep. The experimenters hoped to show that sleep deprivation caused a decrease in performance 2 days later. Okay, so with both of these, we want to ask the questions of this: can I apply it to a population, and can I have cause and effect? Those are my two different questions. Okay, so the first one. Basically, here's what it comes down to be. If people are if there's a random selection of individuals from the population, then we can say our results are applying to the population. And then also, if there's a random assignment of individuals to the groups, to the treatments, then we can have this cause and effect. Okay, so to summarize it here, this is a good thing to put in your notes. If were the individuals randomly selected from the population, okay, so this first one, they do a monthly current population survey. So out of all the U.S. residents, they took 60,000 households to survey. Okay, so the 60,000 that they selected, were they taken randomly from the whole population? Yes. Therefore, the results we get can be applied to the whole population. Okay, whereas this one, they performed an experiment that randomly assigned 21 volunteer subjects to one of two treatments. So were the individuals selected from a population? Okay, well, it wasn't the population of all people. It was just a selection of 21 volunteers. Okay, now if they're volunteers, then I can't apply it to all population, because maybe those volunteers have a certain characteristic with them, right? Somebody that's more likely to volunteer might also be more likely to do something else, okay? So in the first one, since it was taken from the whole population, I can apply it to the whole population. Here, my volunteers were not drawn from the whole population, so no, I cannot apply it to a population. I can only apply it to people like these volunteers, okay? The second one, can I have cause and effect, okay? Doesn't necessarily apply here because we don't really have treatments here. But if you look at this one, they randomly assigned 21 volunteers to one of two treatments, either those that had sleep deprivation or those that didn't. Okay, so since they were randomly assigned to a treatment group, then yes, we can have cause and effect. Okay, so that's the basic idea of this first idea. Can we apply it to the population? Can we have cause and effect? Okay, so some examples. Okay, there's a recent study. It says, study, teens getting less sleep. Social media could be the reason. Using random samples of teens from 91 to 2012, the study found that teens are getting less sleep than they did 20 years earlier. For example, just over half of 15-year-olds reported at least 7 hours of sleep in 91, but only 43% of 15-year-olds reported this in 2012. So can the results be generalized to all teens in those years? Okay, so the people that were randomly selected, were they selected randomly from the whole population of all teens? It says yes, they were, using random samples of teens from this year and this year. Okay, so they were selected from the population, so yes, it can apply to all teens. Okay, based on the study, is it reasonable to say that social media caused it? Okay, now, if we wanted that to happen, we would have to have people randomly assigned to either be a part of social media or not be a part of social media. Okay, we don't have that here, so they weren't randomly assigned. So no, we cannot have a cause and effect there with that. Okay, here's some more problems. Okay, number 1. Okay, so many students insist that they study better while they listen to music. A teacher doubts this claim and suspects that listening to music actually hurts their academic performance. Here are 4 possible design studies to address this question at your school. In each case, they're going to take the student's GPA at the end. Okay, so first one, get all the students in your stats class to participate in the study. Ask them whether or not they study with music on, and then divide them into groups based upon what their answer was, then do their GPA afterwards. Okay? So, were they randomly selected from the population? Okay, nope. We just took the people in the stats class, right? So they were not selected from the population, therefore my results cannot apply to the whole population, just my stats class. Okay? And number 2, were individuals randomly assigned into treatments? Okay, did we randomly have some people listening with music and some not listening to music? No, we didn't have that either. So we can't have any cause and effect with this one either. Okay, this is the next example. Select a random sample of students from your school to participate in the study. Ask them whether or not they study with music on, and divide them into 2 groups based upon their answer. So now, were they randomly selected from the population? Yes. They're selected from the school to participate, right? So we can apply the results to our whole school. Were they randomly assigned to groups? Nope. We just asked them, and they were put into one group or the other just upon their results. So it's more of an observational study, right? So they weren't randomly assigned into groups, so no, there was no cause and effect. Okay, number 3. We get all the students in your stats class to participate in the study. We randomly assigned half of the students to listen to music, while the other half don't listen to music for the semester. So, were they randomly selected from the population? No, they weren't. So they cannot be applied to the population, only to our stats class. Were they randomly assigned a treatment? Yes, they were. They assigned them, half of them to listen to music and half of them not to. So yes, we can say there's some cause and effect from our results. Okay, and number 4. We select a random sample of students from our school to participate in the study, randomly assign half of the students to listen to music, while the others don't listen to music, okay, while they study. So, were they randomly selected from the whole school population? Yes, they were. So, the results we get can be applied to the school population. And were they given a random treatment? Yes. They were randomly assigned half of them to listen to music and half not to listen to music while studying. So yes, we can have cause and effect. Okay. The second topic we're going to talk about today is ethics. Okay, and what you think is ethical and what I think is ethical might be different. So it's not always an easy answer that yes, it's ethical or no, it's not ethical. Okay, for example, would it be okay to do randomized experiments in these things? Okay, if I want to know the question, does texting while driving increase the risk of having an accident? Okay, if we wanted to do an experiment with this, we would have to assign randomly, okay, you're going to have to text while you're driving, and you're not allowed to text while you're driving. Okay, would that be ethical? No. It's not ethical because if we believe that texting is going to help people, make people get in accidents more often, it's not ethical to assign people to that treatment where they're going to be hurt. Okay. Does going to church regularly help people live longer? Okay. So studies say if you go to church, you live longer. Okay. Now, I think there's some compounding variables there, but anyway, would it be okay to do an experiment that says, okay, you guys, I'm going to assign you guys to go to church and you guys not to go to church? Okay. Well, some people would say that would be okay. A lot of people would say that's not ethical to make people go. Does smoking cause lung cancer? Okay, well, we believe it does, right? But did we actually do an experiment? Did we take a group of people and say, okay, you guys need to smoke and you guys are not allowed to smoke? And see the results? No. Okay. Well-designed experiments can give us, right, if people are randomly chosen, with an assignment of treatment, we can have cause and effect. But sometimes it's unethical to do that. Okay, so how do we know that smoking causes lung cancer? Okay, well, we've collected so much data over so much long period of time that once there's an association with that strong of an association, we say that there basically is kind of a cause and effect. Okay, but yes, ethics plays a part into this, into what we do. So here are some things that you need to have when designing something. Okay, this is what, when they design a study, this is what people go through. All studies should be reviewed by an institutional review board, meaning they should have a group of people, like a lot of these studies happen in colleges. So a group of college professors should get together from different fields of study, and they should all get together and say, okay, yes, this is an ethical thing to do, it's okay, or no, it's unethical, I don't think this study should be done. All individuals in the subject must give their informed consent. Okay, so if I'm asked to be a part of a study, I should be informed about what it's about and what's going to happen, and then I should say yes. I should sign something that say yes, I will be a part of this study. Okay, I have some friends right now that are part of a COVID-19 vaccine study. So before they said yes, they'll do it, they were informed about what was going to happen to them, what was going to be given to them, and then they signed a form that said yes, we are willing to participate in this study. I think they made like $2,000 each or something for doing it. But anyway, okay. Also, all individual data must be kept confidential at the end. So we can make summaries about statistics about groups of people that can be made public. But if any individual, we shouldn't release the results about a certain individual. Okay? And actually, anything funded or carried out by the federal government has to follow these rules here. Yeah, so here's a problem, an example. Will people try to stop someone from drunk driving? So a television program, what would you do? I don't know if you've ever seen it, kind of this idea. They hired an actor to play a drunk driver and then used hidden cameras to record the behavior of other people who encountered that person. So would they stop him or would they not stop him? And this study was this ethical to do? Okay. So no, it wasn't. The participants in the study didn't give consent to be recorded or to be part of the study. Yeah. You wouldn't really want to give them consent beforehand either, though. You'd probably get consent afterwards to see if you could use it. But the people that are being recorded and stuff, it would kind of ruin it if they knew they were part of it. So that's the whole idea of ethics. One way or the other, it's a lot of gray area with ethics. Okay. One last problem. Do abandoned children placed in foster homes do better than similar children placed in an institution? So Bucharest, I'm not sure how you say that, Early Intervention Project, found the clear answer was yes. So they took subjects they took 136 young children who were abandoned at birth. Okay, so they were abandoned in Romania and they were living in orphanages. They took half of those children and randomly chosen, placed half of them in foster homes, and the other half stayed in the orphanages. Okay? And then foster care was not easily available in Romania at the time, so it was paid by the study, so people got paid to do it. Okay? So what conclusions can you draw from the study? Okay, so first of all, were the individuals randomly selected from the population? Okay? Now, our population wouldn't be all children. It would have to only be the abandoned children, okay? So if our population is the abandoned children, were people randomly chosen from the abandoned children? Yes, okay? So we can say that our population is the abandoned children, and it can apply to all abandoned children in Romania. Were they randomly assigned? Okay, it says they were chosen at random to be in foster care or in orphanages. Okay, so yes. So we can say there isn't a cause and effect with this. Okay? So, number 2, the children in the study were too young to provide information about consent. So the children are babies, right? So they can't say, yes, I'll participate in this study. Put me with a foster care or keep me in the orphanage, right? Does it make it unethical? Well, that's a matter of opinion, I guess. Be nice, yeah, anyway, it'd be nice if they found out results, I guess, right? So they found out that living in an orphanage was not the best thing for the kids, but put it in a foster care is better. So now they can apply those results and say, we're going to get as many people as we can into foster care, even if we as a government have to pay to get them in foster care. That's a better place for these kids, okay? So does the end result of a study decipher whether it was good or bad? No, it shouldn't be, right? Okay. So that's why it takes numerous people to think about it, whether it's ethical or not.